We'll go back to here. Thank you for that. Just a little like butt window right here.
I'm sick of having to dodge so many up-close AoEs. The boss keeps doing them, and I have to keep moving away to avoid getting splatted. And then I have to resort to the equivalent of throwing marshmallows that will scratch the enemy about as hard as a massage therapist with germophobia. I'm trying to beat them into submission, not soften their tenders. What's that I hear you say? There's an option to give me the ability to do max deeps even when I'm disconnected from the boss like an internet provider out in the country? Of course there is. I was just getting...
Wait, what did he just say? Do max DP... Wait, let me rewatch that. Like, what did he just say about internet provider?
Disconnected from the boss like an internet provider out in the country? Of course there is.
I was
just getting to
disconnected.
It. Thank you not to interrupt me again. The physical range DPS, or just range for short. Physically throwing my spleen into the splattering range of the near semi for long is the more...
Wait. So let's see what the thing says. It says, what if stab far away? Mandatory fancy hats. I mean, do they all have fancy hats? Kinda. I mean, a lot of classes have the mandatory fancy hat. Mandatory legs. I don't know what that even means. Okay. Speed. Support in disguise. It was supposed to be support. That was the original design of all of the ranged classes. They were designed to be support, which is why Bard originally, which was the only ranged deep physical that exists in the base game, and before Machinist was even, I think Machinist even had it too, because they had Mage's Ballad and what was the physical one? But they could regen MP and FP for the whole party, and they could also like boost accuracy. They were like massive support and pretty much required for any raid content, even into Heavensward.
Near semi for long is the more mobile and forgiving cousin of the melee, and is the most important person in the party, since you are the least likely to get a commission in the end. And we thank you for providing such a valiant service, as there
always calm DPS. They never get it.
Always needs to be,
unless they're stupid. Then don't calm them.
Someone in last place. Your role is all about keeping your uptime going, and although yes, every other role is also about trying to do that, you have absolutely no excuse for messing up. The gimmick of the ranged DPS is that you don't have to worry about any positionals or cast times and can run around the arena like an indecisive artist in a Hobby Lobby. You get to stay at a safe distance, and if there's ever a pissy puddle underneath your feet, moving out of the way won't risk you doing suboptimal damage.
I never, ever see a dancer keep a safe distance. The dancer is always like, as I'm tanking, right next to me. Like, they don't even stand behind the boss, they stand in front of the boss. I've never seen a dancer actually keep a distance, which always makes me so mad.
Damage. So what's the catch? Nobody gets off scot-free in this game, as all roles have their stonks and stinks. Tanks have the responsibility of dancing with the boss. Healers have to share gear models with the magic DPS that have been dyed white, and you will have to suffer the nail-pulling drawback known as the range tax. To balance for the fact that you have nearly no limitations on your mobility, your damage will be on average slightly less than both the melee and magic DPS.
That's false, because Bard has peaked out above Black Mage, and so it also, he has these reversed. The Black Mage should be top DPS. I mean, Samurai overtook Black Mage when it came out in Stormblood, but the magic is, Black Mage is always top DPS along with like Samurai. And I think Reaper's up there now too. But the problem is that Bard constantly jumps ahead. Constantly. It is in every single DLC that I've actually been like a part of, Bard has popped out in front of on the DPS charts.
Jobs. And hell, sometimes even some tanks with their openers that'll put down bosses faster than PETA when it finds a stray. The range tax, although real, will make a tiny droplet of difference in the grand scheme of things, and if you pick a range job and feel as though you're being outdone by your peers, odds are you were probably doing badly anyway, and the reason you have trouble jumping over that hurdle was just because your toes were too big and floppy that you would have tripped over every single one so badly anyway. Discovery Channel would decide to make a show about...
Enrique, if you're still there, let me know. How is Bard right now? Or I don't know if Bard, Machinist, and Dancer are all like kind of the same, but how are the DPS charts looking for like for just DPS in general? Because Bard like in Arama Born was essentially needed. You had to have a Bard because of the support they supplied. Heavensward, they lost some of the support, but then were the highest DPS, even though they kind of weren't supposed to be. And then even in Stormblood, they were like highest DPS. Bard near bottom. Okay. So I'm guessing that happened like kind of near Shadowbringers, because in Stormblood, Bard was still top in the charts. Like they had, I mean, well, Stormblood, they had a lot of balancing issues with Samurai, but Bard, Samurai, and Black Mage were like kind of like toe and toe, but kept dipping below Bard like during little tweaks. Like Bard kept jumping up.
Whether or not you're real. Let me summarize. If you do bad, it's a skill issue. Nevertheless, the same rules
That's
as any
true for
role
any
applies
class.
in the fact that you should stay out of the piss puddles wherever possible. Even more so, considering you're wearing Heelys and by all rights should be able to avoid any and every possible puddle and be the nicest smelling at the party, which is important because the healers only have so much nasal tolerance. Lucky for you, each—
Well, here's the thing. So he's talking about like you can stay out of the piss puddles like every other class, and so the healers only have so much nasal tolerance. Well, here's the thing. You're always going to be too fucking far away from the healer. As a healer main, let me tell every single one of you range DPS, stand next to the healer. Stop being on the opposite side. This goes to you black mages too. Stop it. Be next to the healer. We got there's a range, there's the distance that we can't heal past.
because the healers only have so much nasal tolerance. Lucky for you, each range also has a bottle of perfume to spray that will at least mask the piss smell a bit. The final shared utility in the belt of the Black Man is the Limit Break, which although does not do as much single—
What did he just say?
Limit Break, which although does not do as much—
No, it was right before this.
bit. The final shared utility in the belt of the Black Man is the—
I think he was trying to say Batman, but it did not sound like he said the word bat.
Limit Break, which although does not do as much single target damage as the melee, has the benefit of being able to hit multiple targets in a line like a really violent high-five surfer. The range roster is a trio of performers, each one skilled in a different charismatic art, and each one a different flavor of slutty. First is the Bard, where your bow is your harp. Also, your harp is your harp, because with this job you get a bunch of instruments you can play, including these obnoxiously loud drums. You are one of the few jobs with the endangered species known as the damage over time skill, and your main attack
love
involves
dots.
firing a single arrow.
I know a lot of people were complaining about Summoner having to manage dots. I love dots, and I didn't care about managing dots. I loved Summoner during Heavensward. It was one of my favorite classes, and Bard. But when you could apply dots to a single target and then use Garuda to spread them all to like every single target in a huge radius, I love doing that.
Repeatedly until a bigger, cooler arrow gets jealous and sometimes asks to be fired too. But not all the time, because it's not like it likes to be shot or anything. You also have a bunch of songs to play that will make everyone in the party hear a remix of their opening theme. And everybody knows when the opening kicks on, you deal more damage. Because you're the one playing them, you also get your own special benefits, you filthy, dirty performer, you. A song that sometimes lets you shoot more arrows when it feels like giving you some. A song that makes you shoot faster, and a song that lets you shoot more arrows when it feels like giving you some. But a little bit different. All this arpeggios to a crescendo into a grand finale, where you fire a big ol' arrow. And if you've played all your songs, you have the ability to face roll your piano and startle your party into doing even more damage. I said hit harder! Now hold on to those notes there, partner.
I don't know that. I don't know that
For the
ability of
machinist's
it.
main attack, it uses a gun. The most selfish of the range classes.
Exactly.
Where the name of the game is... And the name is labeled on a box called Your Doom being shipped to the enemy at terminal velocity. What you sacrifice in party buffs you make up for in big... Having 3 giant bullets and a bunch of smaller, higher frequency bullets. Doing your normal 1, 2, 3 will get your gun very hot and bothered until it's riled up enough to rapid fire its red hot goodness. And if you make sure to toss your special toy into the mix, it can end in an explosive
Your special toy? SpongeBob's making the right face there.
finish. Keep up that momentum, and eventually you can even invite your queen to join in the fun. Hey, I hear she's got multiple frequency settings. All this might make you
I have
feel
yet
like
to. I've been leveling Machinist a little bit. I've yet to get the transforming, the actual full mech.
contributing as much, but no need to be nervous. Lucky for you, this job comes
Yeah, the full mech. Because I got Machinist at 71. I don't have the full mech yet.
with extra protection. But you are not some simpleton who can be won over by some flashy lights and pretty songs. You want passion.
What are you talking about? We're playing Final Fantasy. If you play Final Fantasy 14, especially if you don't turn off the effects, you are won over by flashing lights and dancey songs.
Romance! A partner who can live up to your standards! The dancer foregoes buffing the entire party or focusing on doing its own damage and instead picks one party member. One extra special, extra spicy, extra sexy partner in crime to give a super buff in—
Hold on, wait. Okay, I'm good.
damage in the form of 2 extra flashy minigames of Simon Says. And then you do a little bit of blending and sending the bodies flying. They're dying to birdies that give them birdies. And afterwards, it's just a
good
matter
song.
of praying to RNGesus to bless your twinkle toes, because from there, it's all coin flips all the time. Your rotation is a 1 and a 2 that can coin flip into a 3 and a 4. And both of those can coin flip into either a single target or AoE 5, which
So
itself
red
is a
mage.
coin flip into a possible 6. And once you're in rhythm, your spinnies will kill them, then dance in the wind like that million ribbons, and kicking and flipping their carrions into your allies so they can annihilate all that's left. Yay, now they're dead. And now you know how to play ranged.
I'm gonna have that song stuck in my head for the rest of my life now. It's gonna randomly pop up into my that song is gonna randomly pop up into my thoughts all the time now.